435 commercial reactors spread across 31 countries, over 375,000 milliwatts of capacity. The world has undeniably expanded its reliance on nuclear energy. However, using nuclear fission as a widespread energy source has stirred up a huge amount of controversy. Many people back this large-scale, groundbreaking technology as a great source of power with a low carbon footprint. Yet many others feel the risks of this emerging method outweighs its benefits. Just how safe is nuclear energy for humans and the environment? Is nuclear waste something we can safely dispose of? What if more Chernobyl-scale disasters occur? Can nuclear energy remedy our growing climate change problems? What exactly is its effect on air pollution? As public opinion oscillates and world leaders enact policies, people address these questions with a considerable amount of weight. Those who support the usage of nuclear energy focus on the abundance of fuel available, the fact that technological advancements will allow for proper disposal of nuclear waste, its safety, and its ability to spearhead the renewable energy revolution. Those who oppose it feel that it simply can't respond to climate change quickly enough, and they point out other crucial flaws such as its cost, threat to safety, and presently non-disposable waste. These two camps have not only sparked debate in America, but around the world. From its dangerous might, as seen in the Cold War, to its high efficiency, nuclear energy will continue to play a pivotal role in the world's energy mix. France derives 75% of its electricity from nuclear reactors, 17% of which comes from recycled fuel, and leads the world in nuclear energy production. They also lead the world in electricity exports due to its incredibly low cost of generation. This country sheds positive light on the use of nuclear energy. However, many opinions and historical tragedies reveal its ugly side.
When we lose control of nuclear energy, nuclear power plants become very dangerous very quickly. Nuclear accidents can occur for one of three reasons: as the result of human error, as the result of faulty equipment or facilities, and as the result of natural disaster. Although these events seem unlikely and every action is taken to avoid their occurrence, nuclear accidents can and have happened. Take, for example, the 1979 Three Mile Island incident here in Pennsylvania. On March 28, 1979, several separate mechanical failures of the plant's equipment led to an excess in heat and pressure in the facilities, causing the severe meltdown of a nuclear reactor. Staff members at the facility failed to diagnose the issue immediately, and an unknown amount of radioactive gases was released into the air. The event rated a 5 out of 7 on the International Nuclear and Radiological Event Scale, or INES, the scale used to rate the severity of nuclear accidents. Fortunately, only 2 Level 7 incidents have ever occurred: the Chernobyl accident in Ukraine and the Fukushima accident in Japan. In Chernobyl in 1986, a flawed nuclear reactor design paired with poorly trained staff led to one of the worst nuclear energy disasters in history. A steam explosion and the resulting fires overtook the facilities, and a dangerous amount of radiation was released. In the weeks following the accident, 30 people died of radiation poisoning, and much of the surrounding area was made uninhabitable, displacing over 100,000 people. The most recent nuclear energy tragedy occurred in 2011, when a tsunami disabled the cooling systems of 3 reactors in the Fukushima Daiichi plant, causing 3 cores to melt down. Large amounts of radiation were released, and over 100,000 people were forced to evacuate the area. Following this incident, there were no deaths directly resulting from the radiation, but nearly 1,600 people died from evacuation stress. Although accidents such as 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, and Fukushima are incredibly uncommon, they can have disastrous consequences for the people and land surrounding nuclear plants if they do occur. In addition, nuclear power plants face another risk of disaster: the threat of outside attack.
The United States has 62 nuclear plant sites with 100 reactors. Due to their potential as targets for terrorist attacks, these sites are protected by approximately 9,000 highly trained and well-armed security officers. Nuclear plant security is overseen by the federal government through the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. The NRC considers 3 main types of attacks when designing security regulations: cyber attack, aircraft crashes, and land or water-based attacks. Nuclear plant safety systems are completely isolated from the internet. If cybersecurity were to be breached, reactors are designed to shut down safely. The terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, of course, brought a renewed focus on nuclear security. Following 9/11, the NRC investigated the potential for an airplane crash to cause serious damage to a nuclear plant. The NRC determined that both areas housing reactors and used reactor fuel facilities could withstand the impact of a wide-bodied commercial aircraft. The NRC, however, has created additional regulations post 9/11 to strengthen the resilience of plants in the event of an air attack. The NRC also conducts yearly reviews of the design basis threat, an analysis of the types of land and water-based attacks nuclear power plants could be subjected to. Since 2001, the NRC has revised the design basis threat twice to reflect a higher number of attackers and greater weapons capabilities. The NRC conducts force-on-force exercises in which security personnel are attacked by a mock adversary at each nuclear plant. Some groups, however, have concerns that the NRC's measures do not go far enough, and that our nation's nuclear plants are nevertheless at risk of attack.
Despite everything, nuclear energy is beneficial in enough ways to make it quite valuable. In 2012, the Energy Information Administration reported that greenhouse gas emissions in the power sector were 15% below 2005 levels, due in part to carbon-free electricity produced by nuclear energy. Nuclear energy produces about 2/3 of all the clean energy we use. As the discussion on how we will manage climate change progresses, many experts say that nuclear power has to be part of the solution, being the only thing that can make it physically possible under current conditions. Nuclear energy has a life cycle cost comparable to other clean energy sources, meaning that the emissions that account for construction and everything else are not that much different from wind power and hydropower, for example. It also adds significant diversity to our power sector, which is valuable in creating a reliable grid. Nuclear power is also the most effective source of any in terms of power produced relative to its maximum potential. Economically speaking, the 99 nuclear power reactors in the US generate hundreds of thousands of jobs and anywhere from $40 to $50 billion in sales annually. It's expensive to build a nuclear facility, but it's extremely cheap to run, and it generates massive amounts of jobs and sales during its construction. Nuclear power is cost competitive with other sources of energy too, and especially considering how low the cost is of its fuel and how easy it is to transport. The change in price of its fuel has less effect on its price than any other major source of energy. Nuclear energy is a viable option both economically and environmentally in solving our energy problems. Though a larger proportion of citizens now support the usage of nuclear energy, it will continue to stir debate on all levels of society. Both sides offer compelling arguments with valid considerations. We as energy-consuming citizens must keep our eyes open and even voice our opinion on just what role nuclear energy should play in shaping our future.
Well, that wraps it up for this edition. Take care, stay safe.
Well, I don't know, but I've been told uranium ore is worth more than gold. I sold my cad, I bought me a Jeep, I got that bug and I can't sleep. Uranium fever has gone and got me down. Uranium fever is spreading all around. With a Geiger counter in my hand,
I'm going out to stake me some government land.
uranium fever has gone and got me down. Well, I had a talk with the AEC and they brought out some maps that looked good to me. And one showed me a spot he said he knowed, so I straddled my Jeep and headed down the road. I reckon I drove about 100 miles down a bumpy road out through the wilds, when all of a sudden I bounced to a stop at the foot of a mountain, didn't have no top. Uranium fever has done and got me down. Uranium fever is spreading all around. With a Geiger counter in my hand,
I'm going out to stake me some government land.
uranium fever has done and got me down.